President Cyril Ramaphosa has honoured the late struggle veteran and human rights lawyer, Advocate Duma Nokwe, with the posthumous conferral of the honorary title of Senior Counsel for the Republic of South Africa. This is on the eve of Nokwe's reburial in West Park Cemetery in Johannesburg tomorrow. He will be reburied alongside his wife, Vuyiswa Malangabi-Nokwe, who passed away in 2008. Former Secretary General of the ANC, who campaigned against the apartheid state, passed away in Zambia in 1978 at the age of 50. His mortal remains were repatriated to South Africa in 2024. And for more on this now, we are now joined on the line by Dan Hatto, the convener of the MK Liberation War Veterans. Mr. Hatto, thank you so much for your time this evening. Of course, something very important taking place tomorrow for the ANC in particular, as you rebury Mr. Duma Nokwe. And one would ask, looking at his decorated past and this former struggle stalwart, also an anti-apartheid activist, somebody who was the first black advocate for the Supreme Court, how do you want South Africans to remember his legacy?
Good evening, Mbali, and good evening to your viewers. Mbali, this is a milestone for us. As you would recall that the government in September last year repatriated the first cohort of the remains of our comrades. Our leader, Comrade Duma Nokwe, was part of that. And there have been elaborate preparations for this reburial of Comrade Duma Nokwe, who epitomizes a real resilience of the people of South Africa. Comrade Duma could have stayed in South Africa, as you have alluded when you were making the introduction. He was the first black advocate to be admitted. He could have gone there to do his practice. But as we would all know, that was also a little bit in vain because he was hounded by the apartheid regime at that time, to an extent that was even asked to go and open his law firm in the townships. And he still fought against that because the constitution at that time was saying that law firms should be closer to the courts. So we're talking about a stalwart here who gave all his life. And we would recall that he was still young when he passed on at 50. We were still expecting a lot from the Secretary General of the African National Congress.
And Dan, talking about the preparations that went underway to ensure that the late Duma Nokwe is buried back in South Africa. I mean, he passed away in 1978 in Zambia. What does it mean to the ANC to finally be able to lay him to rest in his home country?
It simply suggests that the ANC has managed to carry out its promise that was done by the president. Even Comrade Oliver Tambo, it was his wish. If you will recall, when Comrade Oliver Tambo went to bury quite a number of our comrades, more than 30 in Lesotho, this was his wish that the bones of our heroes and heroines will be buried back at home. We are fulfilling that wish from our president. Ironically, Comrade Duma Nokwe worked closely with Comrade Oliver Tambo. Now, the African National Congress is saying to the relatives of our departed comrades, that we want to bring closure to you. Preparations have been made. Comrade Duma Nokwe is going to be buried with his dear wife, Vuyiswa, tomorrow, to close the gap for the Duma family. So we're very happy as Umkhonto weSizwe, because we also derived our resilience, our bravery from comrades like Duma Nokwe, from people like Oliver Tambo. So when we take part in activities of this nature, it also gives us some strength at this point in time, because Mbali, you would recall, you would know that at this point, the ANC is going through a lot, and we are saying we are going to rectify our organization. We are going to renew our organization. We have just taken, less than an hour ago, together with our Secretary General, as Umkhonto Wesizwe Liberation War veterans, a resolution that says we need to assist our leadership to renew this organization, to take this organization where it is supposed to be, not where it is now. So with what is happening tomorrow, we have been given some more strength to move forward and rebuild the African National Congress.
And Dan, at the same time, you know, when we look at the contributions he has made in terms of finally seeing the liberation of South Africa, what do you make of his contributions, particularly at a time where we know that there is a certain grouping in South Africa, the Afrikaner, some of the Afrikaner community, saying that they are being persecuted against, and you know, there are comments around being there's a white genocide taking place in South Africa. What do you make of, you know, the likes of Duma Nokwe's contributions now when we reflect back during this time and what is taking place in South Africa?
Bali, it pains us a great deal when our country is going through such blatant lies, when we all know it is not about Afrikaners being persecuted. It is about South Africa being principled in terms of what is going on in the Middle East, in terms of what the Palestinians are going on. It's not about Afrikaners who are being persecuted. There have been quite a lot of living examples that are proving that the people of this country can live together. Many thousands, millions of Afrikaners are refusing to join this song by Donald Trump. So it pains us when we know of heroes like Comrade Duma Nokwe, who sacrificed their youth, who sacrificed their lives. Comrade Duma Nokwe was there, as we all know, that first he became a teacher. When he was expelled by the government because of his political standpoint, he went to study law. Even then, he was still persecuted to an extent that he had to uproot his family and go to exile. Even in exile, he was amongst those who were really making it a point that at some point, the people of South Africa are free. Here we are today, we are free. But when we get to hear issues like these of the Afrikaners, which are blatant lies being pushed through, it pains us a great deal because people like Comrade Duma Nokwe paid a price.
All right, Dan, thank you so much for your time. That's Dan Hatto, the convener of the MK Liberation War Veterans, just giving us an insight there in terms of what we can expect tomorrow for the reburial of the ANC's former Secretary General Duma Nokwe.